Lights, camera, action! Lighting is one of the most important aspects of building in Minecraft and affects everything from the vibe of the build to how you interact with it. Now we can take advantage of the vital role of lighting in Minecraft builds in the form of dramatic lighting. Dramatic lighting is used to emphasize a certain part of a build or be the main focus of it. It can be used to transform a build, turning it from something like this to something like this. And there are many uses for it, such as using it as a spotlight, a street lamp, or even an eye in a recognizable tower. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use dramatic lighting in your builds in the form of a spotlight, but this concept can be used anywhere. Additionally, there will be some extra features you can use, 10 color variants, and some shape variants. So anyways, let's dive right into this tutorial. First of all, you want to have a dark environment. I have this dark kind of ballroom thing going on, but I always like to have some sort of black stone floor, but really anything that's dark and fairly neutral should work as a floor. For materials, we are going to have 5 blocks going from the brightest to the darkest. We need 1 of our brightest block, 4 of the second brightest, 8 of the third, 12 of the fourth, and 16 of the fifth. And for the spotlight, we are going to be making it out of yellow blocks, and that's going to be using an ochre frog light, yellow glazed terracotta, block of raw gold, deep slate gold ore, and gilded blackstone. In the middle of our dark floor, we have this little diamond shape. So we're going to dig 1 block down, and then 4 blocks out to the side, 4 blocks out in another direction, and link these 2 lines with a little triangle. Just repeat this on all 4 sides, and you have yourself a nice little diamond. Starting us off, we're going to take our frog light and place it right in the middle, just like that. And we're going to take our terracotta and just place it around here. Take our raw gold and form a little diamond around that shape. Repeat with the deep slate gold ore. And lastly, our gilded blackstone. And this gives us an awesome transition between our very bright spots and the black of the blackstone. Of course, if we're going to have a spotlight, we need a light source. So I always like to put just a frog light and a trapdoor over it at the top as just a way to make this all make sense. So that's the basic tutorial. Let's get into some of the extras you can add to your spotlight. The first thing we're going to do is link our light source to the actual spotlight design on the floor. And we're going to be doing this with glass panes, creating a sort of cone shape going from narrow at the top to wider at the bottom. And I have some light gray stained glass panes, some white stained, and some yellow stained, plus some end rods to add some light. But really, it's just about placing some of the yellow and the white glass in some of the brighter spots and the light gray glass towards the outside where there's not much light. It's just about working your way up, placing glass here and there, and eventually you get that nice design that we talked about. It helps to think of an imaginary line connecting our light source directly to the outside of our spotlight, and that helps kind of shape what we have going on. And after messing around, we get something that looks like this, our nice little cone we were talking about leading down here, and it connects our light source to the actual spotlight on the floor very nicely. Now if you want to take it up a notch, you can get some firefly bushes and carefully remove some of the floor of the spotlight, dig down, and you're just going to place a couple of firefly bushes around here. It looks a lot like dust dancing in the air, adding a bit of animation to our spotlight. A side benefit of using the bushes is that they give off a nice buzzing sound that adds to the ambience of having the electric spotlight. So yeah, that's our basic floor design and the special effects that can really sell our spotlight. Let's get onto some color variations. We have 10 spotlight variations for pretty much any color you could ever need. And remember, we're going to use the same steps we used to create this yellow spotlight for our others. So really, it's not anything more complicated. Anyway, let's get started. First up, we have our red spotlight. This one is dimmer than the rest. It would be great for any sort of evil, sinister, or creepy builds. For our blocks, our first layer is going to have an ochre frog light with red stained glass, then crimson nylium, netherwort block, crimson hyphae, and black glazed terracotta. Taking our blocks, we're going to dig 1 block down, add our frog light with a piece of red stained glass over that, then our crimson nylium, netherwort, crimson hyphae, and our black glazed terracotta. And to get this sort of straight line effect, we're just going to look towards the center of our spotlight and place our terracotta in a line like that, and then turn and do the same thing. We get our spotlight design that looks like this. And of course, we can add our extra effects using our light beam with some red stained glass and our firefly bushes. What a lovely, slightly creepy looking spotlight. Next up, we have our orange spotlight. This one feels powerful and bright with a strong resemblance to lava. For our orange variation, we are going to be using an ochre frog light shroom lights, blocks of resin, magma blocks, and resin clumps. We're going to place our blocks in the same diamond configuration again, but when you get to the final layer, you're going to take your floor block, in my case blackstone, and add that around, then take your resin clumps and put those on top. This really helps transition your spotlight to the surrounding floor. This one has to be one of my favorites. Like we already went over, we have our yellow spotlights. This one is a very classic look, and it's something I'd imagine would be in an auditorium for some sort of stage light. As a reminder, we use the ochre frog lights, the yellow glazed terracotta, block of raw gold, deep slate gold ore, and gilded blackstone. Our green variant is heavily nature inspired, and I have to say I love the use of melons. Melons look terrible almost anywhere, but they look great in the spotlight. And we're going to be using a verdant frog light, lime glazed terracotta, our melons, moss blocks, and birch leaves. Much like the orange spotlight, we're going to place the first 4 layers of our spotlights. When you get to the last layer, again, we're going to take our background block, and this time we're going to dig 1 block down and place it in the hole. From there, we put our birch leaves on top. This spotlight feels very peaceful to me, and I love it. Our cyan variant looks mysterious and unnatural, and we're going to be using a sea lantern, oxidized cut copper, dark prismarine, some more dark prismarine with some skulk vein, and some skulk. Place our blocks, and on the second layer of dark prismarine, we are just going to add our skulk vein. Not bad, huh? Our blue spotlight has a strong aquatic theme and even uses aquatic blocks. We're going to be using a sea lantern with white stained glass, some blue ice, tube coral blocks, and we need water to keep this hydrated. Blocks of lapis, blue concrete with some skulk vein on top. We're going to be putting our sea lantern 1 block in the floor with the glass on top, our blue ice, and then we're going to dig 1 block down and place a water bucket in each of these spots with our tube coral block on top, then our lapis, and our concrete with the skulk vein. The blue variant was definitely the hardest, so we had to get a bit creative with what blocks we used. Next up is purple, a very magical looking spotlight, and would be great for any sort of fantasy inspired builds. We're going to be using a pearlescent frog lights, some purple pillar, block of amethyst, respawn anchors with some glowstone, and crying obsidian. To be warned, when respawn anchors are charged, they explode if you click on them without glowstone, much like this. So if you don't want to accidentally blow up, you can use purple wool or purple glazed terracotta. But we can place our blocks. We are going to place our respawn anchors, the crying obsidian, and then charge up our anchors because we might accidentally click on them otherwise. The respawn anchors look best, but it's totally understandable if you don't want to accidentally blow up. Our pink variant is pixelated and cute, and we are going to be using a pearlescent frog lights, strip cherry wood, pink concrete, magenta terracotta, and purple terracotta. Thankfully, this one is easy to put together, and hey, it looks great. And we have our white spotlight. Much like the yellow, it can be used in a lot of cases, but it's more neutral for your builds. We'll be using a sea lantern with some white stained glass, calcite, diorite, cobblestone, and cobbled deep slate. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bam, and voila. Last but not least, we have our gray variant. This is a dimmer, slightly more depressing version of the white, but nice and chill. We are going to need an ochre frog light, light gray stained glass, cobblestone, furnaces, basalt, and deep slate tiles. By this point, you know what's up. I like it a lot, similar to our white spotlight, but a little bit darker. That was a ton of block placing and color palettes, but these all look so good. Each one's unique, and I can imagine how each of them fits into their own environments. So those are color variations. What kind of different shapes can we make? With the basics down, it's really just about manipulating the size and shapes of each of the layers to create the different shape variants. For example, we can make a spotlight that's twice as big by just adding another row of blocks to each layer. It looks super trippy and really helps fill out the entire room. We can also take a spotlight and just elongate it in a direction, and we just did this by adding 5 light blocks in a row instead of just 1 in the middle. This would be great to have down a long hallway. We can use our dramatic lighting to create things like an eye, using the colorful blocks for the iris, black blocks for the pupil, and whatever else you may for an eye, and you get something that looks like this. And like we talked about in the intro, you can even use your eye to create some recognizable towers. And finally, we can use our dramatic lighting to work as a sort of stage light. In my circus mega base on my survival world, I have this performing elephant inside the main room. And to really sell the effect, I made a little stage light beaming onto the elephant. Between the end rods and the floor blocks, it really draws attention to our elephant and makes it the center of attention in the room. So really, it's up to you to decide how you're going to use your dramatic lighting to make light the center of attention, or in this case, drawing attention to the main detail. The possibilities are honestly endless, so get creative with it. Anyways, everyone, that is going to wrap up our tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed this dramatic lighting as much as I did. Genuinely, I've had this idea for like years now, and I am thrilled to finally be able to bring it to life. Also, credit to Impulse SV for the inspiration for this idea. I believe he had something like this in one of his Hermitcraft bases. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite spotlight is. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day!